How you doing, everybody? This is Jehoiadak Maccabeus Everyday Survival. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Dog, he's starting to talk all of a sudden, right when I decided to start the camera. I'm doing pretty good. Went and had an infusion yesterday. My beard's a mess. I haven't stroked it. I'm not really into beard stroking, but it is what it is. Kind of a John the Baptist, kind of wild man, survivalist, revivalist personality. That's about who I am. John the Baptist, he lived out in the wilderness along the Jordan River. There was some crossroads there, and that went into some of the more metropolis areas, and then it was rural hinterlands, and he lived out in the wilderness, the Bible says, and he ate wild locusts and honey, and wore camel skin leather jackets, and had a big leather belt, and it really makes me smile whenever I read about it or hear about it, because it's like modern Western Christianity is so wrapped up into this outward appearance of glory, the glory of their own flesh, and they try to attribute it to their love for God, and I don't understand that. Without Jesus Christ, I'm nothing, period. I'm just a wretch. But anyway, I ain't gonna get off into all that. New knife sheath. I bought this off eBay. Give me just a second. Let me grab another knife to compare to. Shut up, dog. Move. Alright. This is the knife I bought. If you'll notice, it's just like the pilot survival knives that most people are used to, made by Camilus and Ontario. They were the two main producers of it. There's other companies that have made knockoffs, but this one here, this is the Ontario standard length. This is the Camilus. It's early 70s. And even this Camilus is longer than the Ontario. It's about a 1/4 inch longer on the blade. But this was on eBay up for auction. Didn't have a buy it now or anything, and it was like $9.99 was the high bid. There was only one bid on it when I found it. And if you notice, it's got a rubberized handle. The seams on it are like perfect. And he put in the title that he had read online that there was a prototype back in the late 50s that had a rubber handle, and he put a question mark there with the implication that this might be a prototype. I don't really personally think it is. In the late 50s, before the Camilus started putting out this knife, I think it was, don't quote me on it, 62, I think is whenever these became the normal pilot survival knife. Camilus was the original. They had another one that Camilus made that had a longer blade on it, and it had more of a handle and a pommel like the K-bar, with just the round flat pommel instead of the six-sided nut pommel. And on these early 60s on up, the name and the year is stamped into the side of one of the edges on that pommel. On this one here, it's stamped in the blade. The blood groove's longer. So I don't know if it's really a prototype. I've done a lot of digging. There was prototypes. Never found any reference anywhere. I'm not saying there isn't, but never found any reference to a rubberized made handle. But they've done a pretty good job on it, whoever made it. I mean, look at that. They've done a pretty good job. I'll try to stay in the right direction. Glad you wasn't laying there, dog. You might have ended up that stuck in your back. But anyway, it did not come with a sheath. So I made one today. The main sheath, I'll just take it apart. I'll let you see that. I put a cold steel mini tack. I think that's what it's called. It's a pretty decent little knife. It's got the clip point. Holds an edge pretty good. And this one here, I put a Velcro strap on it and riveted to the mounting holes. All the cold steel sheaths come with mounting holes, and it's got a fairly long Velcro on it. That actually come off of a laptop case, and but I made that so that I could wear it down on my calf, like a leg knife or a boot knife, you know. Let me put my cigarette out. I'm gonna pause this for a second. All right. So what I did, let me just go ahead and untie this off here. You can see I tied it off at the bottom with some green military. It's not paracord. It's actually, I think, the drawstring off of M65 field jacket. One of their winter coats. I've got several of them, different camo patterns. And that's what it looks like. But, okay. And I just run rivets. Well, I'll put that on backwards. I just run rivets through the holes. Swallow them out on the back. That one there, that was the first one I did, and it actually didn't even need that washer on there. I didn't realize it until after I did it, and that's why the other three don't have washers on them. Could have saved myself a washer. But this is the cold steel SRK sheath. Joe Morgan sent it to me. I made him a new sheath for his SRK, and he didn't want this. He didn't like it at all, and so I made him a new one. And I used a piece of it's a olive drab, kind of like the duty belts, but I bought it off eBay, $9. You can get like a 48-inch long belt for $9 on there. So I have my phone cut off on me, but this is like a duty belt, but it's just a Chinese version. It's good and heavy duty. It's a pretty good belt. 48-inch long belt for $9 something. I think it was $2 shipping. The two of the holes lined up pretty good with the bottom, and I put Chicago screws in there. I run it up, doubled it over to make a belt loop, put 2 Chicago screws in there and 2 in there to hold it together, and then I put 2 Chicago screws there, and I used pieces of the belt to make the snap to go around the SRK sheath. Just a piece of black nylon, like rifle sling material. 2 Chicago screws through 2 of the holes with snaps on it. The vintage bronze. So get it snapped back together here real quick. On the SRK sheath, I had to take my Dremel tool and cut down that side a little bit for the finger guard to fit all the way down in there. It fits pretty good. It'll make a pretty good sheath. I've got a pretty extensive collection of knives, and I keep them all on belts. That's why I got a bunch of knives piled right here. You can't see them, but I had them on this belt. I bought a green one and a black one, and I opted to put the green belt on here instead of the black one. And I'll have to order me another one. I can put all these knives back on the black belt. My phone keeps cutting off on me. What I was saying, I can get all these put on the black belt, and I went on quite a bit there before I realized the camera video had shut off. I've been collecting some different knives. I've told the story about this one here, how I found it at a scrapyard, and an old knife collector told me he thought it was a kit knife from World War II, and I found out they're actually an E.G.Waterman Invader, and I bought a couple more. I've got a couple more I'm going to get. That's a really nice one. I'll do a more extensive video on the E.G.Watermans. This is the original style. It's just like my original, except it's not as ground down. And the sheath is stamped 1941, United States Marine Corps on the front there. When I do a video, I will, you can't read it as well since I oiled the sheath. I've used a half a bottle of neat's foot oil on this sheath, but I'll put a screenshot of the date and everything. You can see it better before I oiled it. Then this is another one. You got to be careful. There are reproduction E.G.Watermans out there. There's not a whole lot of information about them online, but there is a company that remakes them, and they got wooden handles. So if you buy one and it's got a wooden handle, just make sure what you're getting. This one here's got a leather handle. It's a little bit shorter than that one there. This was the second production. This is what they were using before the K-bar, the Marine Corps, in early World War II, and then they started producing the K-bar. This is what E.G.Waterman made to try to keep up with the contracts, to try to get the contract, and they went out of business in like 1950 or 52. But I'll do an extensive video on those knives later. I'm getting ready to shut off here in about 15 seconds, so y'all stay safe and have a good day. Talk to you later.